It isn't often a player can dominate junior tennis while matching up against future professionals, go on to play in college, lead his team to an NCAA championship, and then make a run on the tour. But then again, most players aren't Stephen Enochs.
I think Stephen Enochs is one of the most deserving candidates that the Hall of Fame has ever selected. He would get in totally because of his playing credentials, but he would totally get in because of the kindness and impact that he's had on players in Atlanta.
Enochs was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, and started playing tennis at a young age. He excelled as a junior, gaining a top 5 national ranking in every age group from 10 to 18. He even had a victory over future #1 player, Pete Sampras.
Stephen was phenomenal. He was one of these guys that everybody knew who he was. Everybody wanted to beat him. They couldn't, but they really wanted to beat him. And he just dominated junior tennis in the South.
Stephen was an unbelievable junior player. I mean, dominated every age division, all the way up. And you can't say enough about it. Just solid, consistent all the way through the juniors.
At the age of 17, Enochs defeated ATP Tour pros Kelly Everton and Peter Duhan in a North Carolina money tournament. Everton was ranked in the top 100 in the world at the time. The next year, Enochs made the U.S. Junior Davis Cup team by defeating Malavi Washington in a playoff. His Davis Cup teammates would include future tennis greats Jim Courier and Michael Chang.
Well, it was certainly a pleasure really getting to watch Stephen as a junior at Kalamazoo and other tournaments and getting to know his family. We knew we were getting a quality kid. We knew we were getting a great player.
When it came time for college tennis, Enochs planned to go to the University of North Carolina. But after a high school trip to see the 1985 NCAA championships in Athens, he watched the Bulldogs win the national title and fell in love with Georgia, deciding to play for legendary coaches Dan McGill and Manny Diaz.
He was going to go to North Carolina. That's where he was going to go. He's from Greensboro. That's where he was going to go. Then he comes down for a recruiting trip, and during the NCAA championships at Georgia, and goes, no way, I'm going here. He loved the atmosphere and the energy, and he is a diehard Bulldog now.
My alma mater, Wake Forest, was then not good enough for Stephen, but the Dogs were the best fit.
Obviously, him being from North Carolina was a tall task for us. He really just bought into what we had to offer after he came and watched the NCAAs here. I believe it may have been with Jim Childs, to just the incredible energy that we had here for our matches. And I think that probably did him in. He became a Bulldog, and so goes the story.
Enochs' strong baseline game was great for the Southern Heat, and it wasn't long before he turned heads at UGA. In his sophomore year, he was a big part of one of the most memorable NCAA tournaments of all time. He went 4-0 at #2 singles, and in the semifinals, Georgia upset #1 ranked Southern Cal behind his win over Luke Jensen.
Well, he's certainly one of our most valuable players, and that year, we had John Boydham at #3, and I think we're down against USC, maybe 3-2, and John Boydham wins his match, and it's match point on court 2 for Stephen. And the energy, the atmosphere, in that match was incredible. Obviously, it was the biggest match up to date, but then we had to come back and beat UCLA.
Then in the final, he upset UCLA's Buff Farrow to help the Bulldogs claim a 5-1 victory over the Bruins for the national title.
Well, just being in that position, both in the semifinals and the finals, is incredible, right? If you are the last match on and you clinch on one of those matches, is an incredible achievement for him to beat Luke Jensen in the semis in the clinching match, and then beat Buff Farrow in the finals of the team championship match. An incredible performance, great under pressure. All his hard work really paid off.
During Enochs' senior season, he reached the NCAA singles semifinals and finished ranked #7 in the country.
He had a great career at Georgia tennis-wise, but he also had a great career at Georgia academically well. Stephen's a very smart guy.
You don't want to say it's the epitome, but it's a Cinderella story of a success, of going to Georgia, having success, and then continuing that after his college.
After graduation, Enochs made the decision to turn pro. He won his first tournament, a satellite event in Lawrence, Kansas, by beating Todd Martin in the final. He played on the tour for 2 years and was ranked in the mid-300s before his retirement.
Well, Stephen had the game off the ground to be a top pro. If he had, like a Alcaraz serve or an Isner serve, he would have been top 10 in the world.
People don't understand, because our sport is about the guys that win, but you hit top 300, you're the top 300 on the planet. That is a phenomenal thing. And that is to me a huge mark and a huge testament to his ability, his commitment, his desire, and his work ethic.
Enochs has continued to play competitively. He is a 7-time doubles champion at the Atlanta Senior Invitational. He won the USTA Men's 40 Clay Court Doubles in 2011 and 2012 and earned a #1 year-end national doubles ranking. He is a frequent participant in local pro-ams, and he's remained in Alta's highest flight, AA1, still competing sometimes against players just out of college or on the pro tour.
And he's still playing at a high level. I mean, we're still playing AA1 at 55 years old. I mean, that's pretty cool. And he is still grinding and still working and still learning.
Enochs has also been a USTA volunteer. He's currently on the Board of Investment Committee with the USTA Georgia and is the portfolio manager for the Atlanta Community Tennis Association. Enochs is president of S. Enochs Investment LLC. He and his wife Lisa live in Marietta. They have 2 adult children. Lisa was also an All-American at the University of Georgia. Congratulations to Stephen Enochs, a 2023 inductee into the Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame.